a very British town, not very English town. Well, very Suffolk town, really. I mean, the people here, friendly, they're straightforward and direct. I mean, the bookshop round the corner, it's not called something like Books R Us. It's called the Aldeburgh Bookshop. And down the road, down there, there's a fish and chip shop. It's not called A Better Place. It's called the Aldeburgh Fish and Chip Shop. And if you want to catch your own fish, there's the Aldeburgh Tackle Shop. And the cinema isn't called something like Ritzarama, something jazzy. It's called the Aldeburgh Cinema. Susie, you've been associated with this cinema for, well, very many years.
Nearly 40 years.
So you were here when it was purely a commercial venture. It was a cinema to make money.
Oh, gosh, yes. I mean, that's why it was here. I mean, that was owned by a man who earned his living through it. I mean, he had to pay his way. And it was 2 shows per night and a lovely cinema.
So you came here for, I don't know, leisure and pleasure before you ever came here for work?
Yes, I suppose, yes, because everybody done their courting in the Aldeburgh Cinema. I mean, this is the place. Where else? I mean, there was nowhere else to go. We never had cars, we never had pubs to go into, and that was it. I mean, to go in for a pub, my father would have been horrified. So we used the cinema. I mean, this was it. 3 times a week we used to come in. Loved it.
But you've seen it change over the years. But were you aware that when the 1970s came round, things were changing? What happened here? Did it start to decline in attendance?
It declined in the mid-70s. We had a bit of a tough time here, and it nearly closed. And there was an announcement in the paper by Mrs. Gifford, who was managing director at that point, and saying the cinema is going to shut on Saturday or whenever. And the town people said, no, it can't shut. We must have a cinema in Aldeburgh, have a meeting. And that's when the cinema club was formed.
When you say there was a cinema club, what do you mean?
Well, the cinema club was formed really as a financial help for the cinema and to really let us know that there were umpteen people wanting the cinema here.
Now, obviously you've raised money by having people be patrons of make donations towards the cinema. There's a plaque outside, there's a seating plan, and of course you've got these little sort of name plates. What do people have to pay to have their name put on a seat here?
They had to pay £50, but they don't get anything for it. I mean, we don't give anything back. They can't say we're coming to sit on that seat. They've done it for the cinema to keep us going. That's the generosity of the public here.
Of course, there are 1 or 2 famous names scattered about, aren't there?
Rostropovich has got one, and his wife Galina has got one.
Has he actually ever been in the cinema?
Yes. Yes, he has, because he was very well known, obviously, with the Aldeburgh Festival as it was then, and it's now called Aldeburgh Productions, and because he spent a lot of time here with Benjamin Britten. Now,
you raised the big Aldeburgh name, let's be honest. It's like a cinema in Stratford and saying, has William Shakespeare ever been in? Yeah. But did he ever come in here?
Of course, he was a director. In the early days, in the 70s, he was one of the people who was a director along with Peter Pears.
You want to come up in the...
Oh, it's up there, is it?
Shall I lead the way, John?
Yes, please do. Right, so it's up here, is it?
Just through the doors.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
This is the rewind bench.
Yeah, yeah.
This is a film that's just come off the projector.
Oh, so that's just been seen?
That's just been seen.
Yeah, so you've got to what?
We've got to rewind it so they can show it again tomorrow night.
Oh, I see, yeah.
We used to have to do it by hand.
What, crank it?
Yes, since one of my arm isn't longer than this one. We've made this little machine, and it does it by motor for us. All we do is put the foot down and we have a variable switch.
Oh, very nice. Very exciting. Saves you a lot of trouble,
It does.
Now, your involvement, Neville, with the cinema is not just here in the projection room, mainly, of course, but you actually have done quite a lot of the planning and ideas and work out there in the cinema. You were telling me the seats were moved about at your instigation. What did you think of the seats? Why did you want to move them around?
Well, it seemed to me that people were sitting as sardines, one in front of the other. So we staggered the front row to see how that would come off. So, in other words, if you sat down, you'd be looking in between 2 people's shoulder instead of somebody's back of head. And I think it's a lot better. It does help.
Yeah, what other innovations are there?
We've had the digital fitted, so we don't have room to have the big spools We haven't got the heights.
Oh, I see.
So we've had to have them put at the back here.
Oh, down here?
Yeah,
Oh,
down
yeah.
here. And they come up through here, through these rollers,
Yeah.
across here. What do you think that's for?
What it's for? I don't know what it's for, what is it?
Well, that's to deflect the heat from the film. But what do you think it's made of,
Well, it's
John?
made of metal, but I don't know what it is.
That's a paint tin.
Is it?
The bottom of a paint tin.
Now, Neville, you're retired now officially, of course, but you come in about 3 days a week to operate the projector. But I gather that you don't want to see this turn into just a museum cinema. You've got plans for the cinema to develop. What sort of things?
Well, we've got 2 pillars at the front by the screen. And I'd like to put just some little lights going up the whole pillars either side, you know, chasing lights, very low, just to give it that atmosphere.
Oh, you mean like Christmas lights? I know, flashing lights.
That's right, yeah. And I'd like to put a shield in the middle at the top, just lit up lightly when the adverts are on and people are coming in, just to give it that finishing touch.
So what would be on this shield?
The Aldeburgh shield.
Oh, coat of arms.
Coat of arms, yeah. Heraldry.
Just to explain for the viewers, we're sitting in this very pleasant walled garden at the moment, but it is all part of the cinema, isn't it? I mean, when someone pays to come in the cinema, do you allow them to come in and wander around into the garden?
Yes, we do, yes. And of course people have parties here too. In fact, you know, it's a complex. So many different things happen here.
You're not just running this as a commercial cinema, are you? Just trying to get plenty of people in and make money. I mean, you do have, you know, more of a policy, don't you? I mean, you got your Sundays for a start. What happens then?
Well, every other Sunday, all through the winter months, we show classic films. It's really for the cinema club, of which we've got about 1,000 members. You know, quite a big thing. But anybody can come to the films as well. And I have to find them. They choose what they want, and I have to track them down, and that's not an easy job.
Now, I've talked to a lot of people about the building and the history and the projectors, but at the end of the day, you come to a cinema to see what's on the screen. You, I gather, make the decisions about what's on the screen. Is that how it works?
I make the decisions single-handed, and that's the fun of it, actually. It's a lot of work, so it means a lot of reading up. And you've got to know what is sort of feasible box office-wise. You've also got to know Aldeburgh's tastes, which are not like everybody else's tastes, I can assure you. And at the end of the day, you've got to make the thing pay. So you might, in any given month, say, have one blockbuster that's going to do really well.
Shakespeare in Love.
Shakespeare in Love, shall we say. And then you have... I have the system of liking to have once a month a foreign language film if I can.
And I gather you've got like a dimension that goes beyond what's on the screen. Because didn't somebody tell me you had Fred Astaire's daughter?
That's right, and what's more, she's coming back again this year. She was a great success. Just by chance I met her, which was a fluke, when I was staying in Ireland with a friend. So she came over and we had 3 of her father's films, 3 different sessions, and the rather ageing population of Aldeburgh absolutely loved it. Then suddenly, after Top Hat, I think it was, she looked at her hand and she said, "I'm really moved because I realise now the ring that he was wearing, the signet ring on his finger in Top Hat, I'm wearing today."
If you had, Felicity, to sum up to somebody who said, well, I've never been to this cinema of yours, what attributes does it have? What's so special about it? Could you say it's special because...
It's special because it's a cinema in a nice place with state-of-the-art technology, with a really friendly people who run it. So it has a kind of old-world touch, but with everything modern that's good.
And how many other cinemas can boast their own walled garden for those warm evenings? I can see why Benjamin Britten liked it round here. Wouldn't mind moving round here myself. An East Anglian area admired for art, antiques, the Aldeburgh cinema and ale.